Hello, hello, and we are live. How are you guys?
Hi,
Great.
guys.
Hey, fantastic.
Good. How are you?
I am doing amazing. I'm super excited to be here. Super honored that you guys are excited to do this. Before we actually get into anything, feel free to introduce yourselves, who you are, what is your part in Arcane, and anything else you'd like to say in our intro.
I'm Amanda Overton. I'm one of the writers that worked on the first and second season of Arcane. The last season, I was a co-executive producer, which just means I had a little bit more say in how the episodes were produced at the animatic phase than I did in the first season. And I kind of helped oversee all of the episodes as opposed to just sort of singular moments in episodes that I had in season one.
Cool. All right. And then how about you, Katie?
Well, I'm Katie, and I am the voice actress for Maddie in Arcane Season 2.
Are you? How?
Yeah.
Wow. What a coincidence. We have you two here for this very special watch party. I wonder
Isn't
why.
Isn't that strange? Weird.
So weird how this works out. Well, while we let everybody get a chance to join in for this live stream, we will, guys, be doing a watch party without the actual visuals on screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our own versions. They're going to sync theirs up to the audio of mine. And then you guys at home, you can do the same. We will do a special little countdown for that. So don't worry. We'll make sure everybody is synced up and we can all watch it together. And then after the episode is done, we will be doing like some commentary while it's happening. But if there's anything they want to get in depth with to talk about, we will be doing discussions after, as well as pulling maybe some other topics from other episodes. And then they will be doing a live Q&A with you guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun and really looking forward to it. For now, Amanda, whatever you would like to chat about you and Katie, Arcane itself, you have the floor.
Thanks so much for having us, Elijah. I think we're both big fans of your reaction videos and the enthusiasm you bring to the joy and love of Arcane. So, we're just honored to be here. And, we're really excited to kind of get into this with everyone together. So I think just to kick us off, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about how Katie and I met, because that's been sort of a really actually long, interesting story. I think so. I was working on my friend's short film. I think it's about 12 years ago now, maybe. I think that's maybe when we met.
You're aging us, Amanda.
Listen, everybody needs to know how much work and effort goes into making it where we are in Hollywood.
It's so true. Yeah.
And so like 12 years ago, I was helping my friend produce a short film that you auditioned for, and you made it. You were at callbacks, and I was like, wow, this girl can really act. And I don't think you were cast in that, right? But we were like, I was like, I love her, she's great. And you then did a table read for a feature that I wrote, one of the characters in the feature that I wrote.
Which was amazing, by the way, because I was new to LA. I just moved to LA and was kind of new to acting, and I had been trying to work my way up reading all these really terrible jobs. And then I got to read your screenplay, which was amazing. And I was like, oh, this woman can really write. This is a real screenplay. This is amazing. And then you invited me to read for it, do a live reading for the screenplay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, like, there's just so much writing. That was a feature that I wrote with a friend. I was working on True Blood and Transparent at the time during the day, and then at night I was going home, and we were doing writing sessions at night, like once or twice a week, to kind of get this feature. It took us 6 months at that schedule to get the feature done. It was like this little indie feature, which we called Thelma and Louise meets Spring Breakers. We were both obsessed with the movie Spring Breakers. And it's about two teenage girls who get caught up in like an organ trafficking scheme. So just like really fun, kind of violent and little indie movie. And Katie read one of the parts for us at this table read, and then we ended up not getting that movie made, but kind of met during that scenario. And then I think it must have been 6 or 7 years later that I was playing Mass Effect, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And I was playing Andromeda, and I was like, that voice sounds really familiar. Oh, I know who that is. And so that was Katy. I think I reached out and messaged you. I don't know if you remember that, Katy.
I do remember it, and it was the character I played. It was it was kind of this philosophical, scientific, religious lesbian who happened to have red hair, and recurring themes. Yeah, it was that struck a chord with you because I think it was because of the, you and I are both queer, and because of the queer thing, and you reached out, and by that point you were doing really well. Like it's just so funny in LA because you don't see people for a long time, and then you check in with them, and suddenly they're doing all these great things. And but I knew when I first read your screenplay that all this was going to be in the pipeline for you because you were just, an incredible writer. So it was exciting then to reconnect over that project. And
yeah, and I'd also played Fallout and saw your amazing voice of Kate in Fallout too. So I think that after all of that, when we were looking to cast this new character for season 2, I was like, oh yeah, Katy, why don't you? And I was like, I remembered her, and I was like, oh, why don't you come in on an audition for that? And can maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what the audition process was like, Katy?
Yeah, so you sort of pitched it to me like, well, the modest genius that you are. You were like, I'm working on this animated thing. Just this thing for Riot. And I got to see an early before, I think it was either, I can't remember if it was during or before my audition, I got to see a version of the pilot for season 1. There was like a little screening just to get a sense of what the show was. And I was like, this is not just an animated thing. I was like, yeah, this is the ultimate.
Yeah, and this was long before season 2 or season 1 came out.
Exactly.
So we were deep into writing. In fact, most people don't know this, but I finished working on season 2 before season 1 came out. So a lot, so there was a lot of what we did, and all of the story we told was a story that we told for ourselves as like the #1 biggest fans of Arcane, the creative team of Arcane. In the vacuum of all this audience love and things. So, that's kind of gives you a little hint at like just how long this takes and just how much effort and care and time and love has gone into making this series.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And I sat in on the screening, and I was already really interested in doing this project, but when I saw the pilot, something just rose inside me, this burning feeling of like, I gotta do this. I got to work on this project. I mean, it was just so intense. I fell deeply in love with the project, like love at first sight. And I know Amanda had written a role kind of with me in mind, but I still, I wasn't a named actor, a famous actor. I had to still kind of go through the audition process, and which was really enjoyable and really thorough compared to other auditions I've been in. I think I came in a couple of times to the studio to work with the director, playing through different scenes, and I just loved the material. I loved the character. I just it ignited such deep passion in me, because when you're not a famous actor, when you're a sort of working actor, it's a mixed bag of things you get to work on. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. You don't have as much control. And suddenly I was so close to touching this project that was just so unlike anything I'd ever experienced, and I wanted it so badly. And I think when it came down to it, was myself, wasn't it, and another actor. It was between 2 of us, Amanda for the role or something.
Yeah, and I think that it was just clear that your passion and everything you described and how much you connected with this character really shined through for the team. And I like just like I didn't have the final say in this, so Katy really won everyone over on the team. So
I think I called you to say I got it. Actually.
Oh yes, that's right. I found out that you got the part.
I was like, oh my God, I got the part. Yeah, I mean, when I got the call to say I'd gotten the role, I was just beside myself. It was amazing. And funnily enough, my first day recording was the first day of lockdown in 2020. So everything was shutting down, and I knew I had this voiceover session, and I was like calling the studio like, hey, need the money, need the opportunity. Can you keep the studio open so I can do this job? So I did my first session early 2020. And then, of course, it was like just a wasteland over 2020. And then we picked up again at the end of 2020. And then I had my second session, I think, like 9 or 10 months later for this project. And then, it just kind of kept going on. Here we are. Yeah.
one of the memorable things for me for that audition process was that some of the scenes that Alex and I wrote were just like we had an idea for the character
Right.
and some of the first things written, but we didn't know, we just wrote fake scenes, like sides that weren't going to be in the show. And one of them, I think, was like you and Kate in a bar, like having drinks together or something.
Drinks. Yeah, it was having drinks in the bar. It was a sort of a flirtation between those characters. I actually really liked that scene as a standalone scene. It was really nice. But yeah, there was a lot of nuance in the scene, so there was loads to play with.
It was like all the enforcers, like after work one day, just having a drink in the bar,
unbuttoning their shirts and just really, exactly.
And Kate was like pensively looking off into the distance, thinking about something, and you came in to connect with her and kind of opened up about your backstories a little bit in that, and a scene that never intended to exist in the show, but just kind of like to give sort of character moments and intentions that we thought might show up in the show to the actors to play in the scene.
But actually the essence of the character Maddie that then translated to that opening scene, the way I played Maddie, definitely came from that. There's definitely threads between those scenes. I think that essence kind of carried over from that original scene that you guys wrote.
Yeah, and then just maybe one more thing before we get rolling here is that I think another thing that's super unique about this character Maddie and Katy's kind of take on it is that most if not all of the character designs for the show were done before any casting was done. But in season 2, we actually cast Katy before they designed the character, and then Arnaud, who's like the head of design at Riot for Arcane, actually incorporated Katy's appearance into Maddie's look a little bit. So she's sort of the only character in Arcane who has a little bit of like real life take from the voice actress. So I think that's like a fun little tidbit.
That's so cool. Yeah, I can definitely see like the eyes and everything. Like definitely a lot of this I'm seeing so much of Maddie. You know what you need? You need like all the little freckles and stuff.
I had them when I was younger. Actually, I should pull up some pictures when I'm a kid and put them on my Instagram so people can check them out, because there's some similarities,
Oh, that would be cute. Yeah. But by the way, guys, if you don't follow these guys on their Instagrams or socials, their links are in the description. I highly recommend it. They're always posting really cool stuff. And so yeah, show them some love. Make sure you go like follow them and keep up to date with all the cool stuff. That's really neat though. You got a little bit of yourself in there, not only in your voice, but like your looks too. That's cool.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of people asking in the chat already, like if I have seen it already. So here's the game plan.
Okay.
I did record my reactions already, so don't worry. I'm not going to be spoiled. We will be trying to focus this whole watch party and questions and discussions mostly on episode 4, maybe some season 1 stuff. If we do bring up things that come up in episodes 5 and 6. For those of you who haven't seen those yet, we will be, giving you a little heads up. Hey, spoiler warning. This we're going to be talking about this now. But fun fact, Katy has not seen this at all.
I've not seen it. I've resisted. I got a screen. I got screeners a while ago. Haven't watched them when it came out midnight. Didn't watch it.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't sleep much last night anticipating this. I've been a little.
Poor thing.
A little anxious. But obviously I know the gist of what we're about to see.
Oh, do you? Uh-huh.
Well, now I come to think of it, I've got a vague memory of something. But yeah, like you're gonna get my first time reaction to this. So
awesome. And then Amanda, you said you have seen them put together, but it was a long time ago and it was just one time. Was that?
So I have, because I helped produce the animatics, I have like all the dialogue memorized from this, and I have every moment memorized. I found that I still laugh at my own jokes, so that may or may not happen. We'll see.
We will.
But again, like we finished the animatic phase of this like 3 years ago, and then so much care and effort has been put into every step of the process, from layout to animation. Although, just a fun fact that I learned about animation over there is that one artist will work on a scene, and they will achieve about 4 seconds of animation every week.
Wow.
So that's not even a second a day. And again, like if Bart, the head of animation there and one of the directors of the season 2 of like some of these episodes, you know, if he says something different, please listen to him. But you know, back when I was there a few years ago at the studio, that's what they told me. And to me, that's just like when I watch these episodes, you know, the jokes and things that I thought were funny in the script are they're just so much better when you see like Savika's face and how they animated it, and you know, all of like it's just. And the subtext that these animators put into the performance is just, it's awe-inspiring to me. So I think I've seen, you know, I've seen this episode in its complete form one other time.
Okay.
And so this will be like sort of, you know, my opportunity to delight in all that wonder again.
All right. Well, this is super exciting. So here's how we're going to do it, guys. For those of you who just joined us, we unfortunately cannot be showing the visuals on the screen. There are copyright laws in place for that. So what we're going to do is we're all going to be syncing up our videos, and we're going to be pressing play at the same time. So you at home who are watching, if you would also like to join in on the watch party and get the visuals with us, please go ahead and grab your copy now. Log into your Netflix. Line it up now. I'll give Amanda and Katy a chance to get their videos up. I will be playing my version and you will be hearing mine, which will help you guys sync up at home, as well as Amanda and Katy. So we all know where we are. We will not be pausing. They will be commenting and I will be commenting. I will be muttering certain things at certain times while we're watching it. But we were not going to pause, so that way, you know, we could just keep it in sync and just watch through. But afterward is when we will do any more in-depth discussions, as well as picking questions from the live chat from you guys to answer, and just having an overall good time. So let me ask you guys, Amanda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Katy, are you ready?
I'm like, come on, Katy, don't mess this up. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, everybody at home, let me know if you are ready in the chat. You can just write ready, or you could put like a thumbs up emoji. I'm going to be pulling up mine as we speak. Get that up. Oh, don't play it yet. All right. We're getting a lot of readies. We're getting a lot of exclamation point readies. This is great. All right, guys, we're giving you guys each one more second to line up. And then we will be watching this. I made popcorn as well, so if you see me munching, I apologize ahead of time.
Jealous.
All right, I'm going to share my screen just so you guys can get the audio. All right. All righty. All right, guys, we're going to do the countdown. Ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. You guys can hear it okay?
I think my ba-da-dum was perfectly synced, so I'm happy.
All right.
Here we go, guys. So cool.
It's a banger.
Yeah, so now we get to finally see what this song was meant for in the show.
Yeah. I love the difference in animation styles.
Yeah, I think Fortiche really went all out to kind of push the boundaries of what they could do with 2D and 3D animation this season.
Beautiful. Blue hearts in the chat, guys. Blue hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those eyes. Oh. Oh, little Isha.
Cute.
Such a beauty.
Yeah. Oh, I have like so perfectly synced you guys. I'm loving this.
Yeah. Katy, how
well
you doing?
done, team. Well done, team. Yeah, so I think, as you can see, a lot of what we did this season is we really tried to use visuals, use music to kind of tell you what sort of the different states of the world are in those montages. So, you know, we're like, now we're in a whole new land now. As you can tell, we've skipped forward in time, similar to the structure we had for season 1. And now we are, you know, plot wise in a different place than we were before.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. You guys do it well. You really do.
When this comes on at the gym, does anyone else like flex?
Yeah.
In front of the mirror.
You feel so much stronger. Just like...
I know, something about it.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, glad we're in sync. Oh, what could this be?
Up again? The city's not going anywhere.
I have an audience with the Masons Guild first thing in the morning.
Oh, it hurts.
Let me guess. Complaints about the Noxians.
They doubled their fortification requests. Again. To keep
us safe.
I never expected this to go on so long. I thought... I don't know what I thought. Just... It wasn't this.
You could call it off. Withdraw from the underground. Re-establish the council. All you have to do is give the order.
Not without Jinx. Besides, a withdrawal could lead to a worse situation than the one that...
Okay, I'm better.
She delivered us Zorn, as she vowed. Without her, who knows how many enforcers we'd have lost. I've learned so much from her.
You're our leader. The enforcers, Piltover, they follow you. I follow you.
Oh. Why is your voice so cute, Katie? How dare you?
No, I think it's kind of bold to start an episode and act with a very intimate scene between 2 women.
Yes. The audacity.
The audacity.
Together for the meanest.
It was so hard to react to that and not fully hate on Maddie now knowing you as a person. I was like, dang it, why she sound so cute though?
No, I was kind of mortified watching that actually. I was just like, oh. Okay.
This is so cute.
The Challenger, a rising star with hideous mandibles and a face that would make.
Is this supposed to reflect how Vi kind of told Jinx stories when they were younger?
Two will enter.
So cute.
And after that, no knows. Handlers, release your beasts.
I think sort of reversing the roles of, you know, it was a really important thing for us this season in terms of where we put Jinx. You know, she's in a lot of positions that, you know, Vi used to be in, or everyone expected Vi to be in, and has to kind of confront that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kind of make a comment about where I'm like, I wonder if this was helping Jinx see and understand Vi a little more, her perspective. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
Congratulations on your victory. Well, you're past your
Kid
prime.
is so cute.
The only thing to do is
20 years.
a rematch. Return of the Titans.
Oh.
Vengeance. Redemption. The inexplicable release of bodily gases.
So cute.
I love Ella's performance on just like, you could give her just about anything and she makes it work.
Isn't it? It's amazing. She's amazing in this role.
A deal's a deal,
So good.
I guess.
I couldn't even recognize her voice in the first season. I didn't know that was Ella Purnell. I was like, wow.
It's just a tremendous performance. It's amazing.
Oh,
Ta-da!
little baby powder.
You like it? You're lucky. I didn't get to do much of this with my older sis. She was more into hitting things. I had a different name back then. You know, Powder.
Oof.
Stupid, right? I thought I was rid of her for good, but you kind of remind me of her.
Oh, that's deep.
So much of those nice little moments were added by the directors or the storyboard artists or the animators.
Oh, they're great.
That's a past life, kid. That was about as sweet as last year's milk. Jinx is dead.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Woo! This shit got intense, man. Oh, poor dude. Jesus.
I know. I think that guy is a reuse from season 1. You see in one of like Piltover Progress Day.
Oh, God.
One of the scientists there.
Incompetence. This is their
Well, he ain't gonna
doing.
be in the next season.
Their name out of your mouth.
We can't be certain the Order was also behind the disappearance of Jace and Heimerdinger.
Who else? The moment we seize control of this backwater, everyone with an inkling of talent vanishes. It's no coincidence. Our instincts were right. They fear Hex Tech. We were too slow. How could I not secure the scientists? They have my daughter, Rictus.
Our moment will come, but you must be prepared.
Yeah, I got thinky thunks about that guy. I do. Yeah.
This is an example of like getting everything you want and it just causes more problems.
Yeah.
Which is a plot device I quite love. I think also this is one of the scenes that so much is done in the performance and subtext and the little looks between these side actors and stuff. That it adds so much weight,
so much tension. Yeah.
Yeah, those little subtle movements and expressions and eye changes. Oh,
she is not your champion. She hides while you suffer, and yet you refuse to hand her over.
You got me with this one. I was like, Jinx?
So you see, there's a little bit more to why Isha wanted her hair dyed blue than we previously thought. You know, we thought it was just an innocent emotional connection thing. There's a little bit more
to it,
plot to that. Yeah.
Very
you know, Ricta's sort of motives there. Everyone, you know, the hunt to get Jinx also has several layers now. Because Ambessa knows that Jinx created Hex Tech, and that's what she wants right now and needs.
I think we've made them desperate for something to believe in.
Yeah, the only other person who knows how to use it and mess with it.
This doesn't have to change what we talked about this morning. You can still...
Officer Nolan. Quite the familiar face these days.
General?
I'd like a word with Commander Pyramid. In private.
Oh, little wee face. Adorable.
I suppose I don't need to advise you on the hazards of professional entanglement.
Nor is that the advice you rushed here to provide.
Nor is that the advice. I love that line.
So good.
Will ignite the Swanite festival. But the blade
So sassy.
There's a train.
Yeah.
You have her sent. I'd expected this development would encourage you.
Was it for my encouragement that your man Rictus was instigating violence?
You don't trust me.
No.
The blade cuts both ways.
So good.
Fearless child. You never shy.
You have a recommendation?
If it wasn't Jinx at the checkpoint, one of them knows where she is.
Arrests require cause.
What greater cause is there than returning peace to this city?
Why is peace always the justification for violence?
Such a good line. Love that.
We've lost so many. The anger, the sorrow. It's tiring. But I know it's tiring. But you will never rest knowing that she's out there. Or maybe I underestimated you. Maybe you have the strength I do not. To forgive and trust in tomorrow.
So good.
The decision is yours, Commander.
Ah.
It's just such a
writes
powerful
this?
performance.
Yeah. And I think we can talk about this more after, but sort of the idea for this episode was that Ambessa would be the devil on Caitlin's shoulder and Maddie would be the angel on her shoulder. And she, because we're really just pushing that boundary of like, is this for revenge or is this for justice?
I wouldn't have
And everything in that scene is kind of like, you know, even the like the justification for peace leads to violence. Violence is peace. All of it is wrapped up in that.
Did they?
That's
Even
great.
when she's not here.
There's some really good like lines in that whole
She's the
that whole
last heir
conversation.
of the great Medardas. But the writing's on the
I
wall.
love Les.
When you're missing this long, you're not coming back. Same time next week? Tomorrow. The effects have been diminishing. Huh. I keep hearing about this healer down in the fissures, way out on the fringes. They say he makes miracles happen. I saw one, like nothing I'd ever seen before. Can't hurt to look, can it?
Undercity Jesus. Becomes such a thing online, by the way. Like,
I know.
They're like,
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like the Messiah has risen. I'm like,
Robot Jesus. Robot Jesus. Yeah.
About what?
Oh my
You're
god.
stunned at the checkpoint.
No idea what you're babbling about.
That wasn't you? However it happened, the whole Undercity's buzzing, saying you're back. So I'm thinking
Not your strong suit.
would make a world of difference if you showed up. Your symbol.
You want a symbol?
That was the best. That was the best.
Wilco spent his whole life trying to rally the Undercity together.
I love their
Stupid
dynamic
joke
in this
that it
season.
is, you have the chance to pull it off.
I told you I'm not interested.
Do you know how much he sacrificed to protect you?
Uh-oh.
He believed in your potential.
Well, then he shouldn't have died.
We're having a rally tonight. Vander statue, firelights, your fans, anyone I can bring to the table. Stick your head in the dirt if you want. But this fantasy you've been living out here, it's not gonna last forever.
Oh.
Don't trip on the way out.
Do it, kid.
The little drawing.
I gotta
I
go.
know.
Someone.
I think bringing Savika and Jinx together because they were so different in season one was like, oh, is that something we could do? That would be such a fun dynamic. They just they believe in the same thing and they're just go about it so differently, you know.
Yeah.
Between you and Isha.
Kind of works though. It's a good
I'm
balance.
losing my snappy comebacks. Me, a hero.
This was cool.
How screwed up is this place? I know Savika's right, and I probably owe it to you. On account of the murdering and all. But I got something going now. A friend.
Oh.
I don't want to mess it up. Maybe that's what I was like for you.
Oh.
If you care so much about me playing your stupid revolution game, speak up now. Or I guess you're really gone.
Well.
And there's no reason to stay here anymore.
Just shatter us, why don't you?
I think she's so used to hearing the voices of the people she killed that when Silco doesn't talk back, that's even more heartbreaking for her.
It's so quiet now.
I saw a meme of this. It was like Maddie, get a job or something when I was standing behind it.
Poor Maddie.
Get a life.
Poor Maddie.
I think one of the things that was so hard to crack in this episode was the structure, just the weave of how we integrated the stories. And I think this sort of hinging on the intercut between the statues and the montages and the memorial, this was a big sort of focal point for us that helped us tie everything together. And I saw this and I was like, oh, thank God it worked. Yes, I knew it would. But we can talk about that more. We can get into it in the Q&A.
Yeah. I think it's really cool too because it's showing like on the top side where it's supposed to be, you know, better and this and peaceful and stuff. It's violence and destruction right now, and then you're showing the other Undercity, and it's just love and heartbreak and like a quiet little memorial, and you know, it's just interesting. Someone says, "Maddie, get a job and find another femme."
Don't make me.
Yeah, Katy.
It's no secret we got history. Blood spilt on all sides. But we grew up on the same streets. Ate the same scraps. Like it or not, we're in this mess together. Enforcers raiding our homes, Noxians down our throats, innocents getting carted off to Stillwater.
Uh-oh.
We gotta choose right now whether we're gonna throw in the towel or make a stand together. Not as firelights, or jinxers, or washed up goons, as Zonites.
Where is she?
Oh.
I can feel my hand going up.
Yeah. It was so sad we lost that arm already. I was like, we had it for 5 minutes. It was so cool. Rip Savika's arm.
She's such a badass, she doesn't even need it.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Oh, little baby blue. got the spirit, man.
Drop the blade!
Oh my god. What an intimidating shot, man. Ugh.
Time to find out who's the new Pebbleweight.
I know Singed was a man without a country this year or this season, so he was struggling to find his place.
He had free time. That was not good.
Isha?
They got her.
What?
Oh.
She came to the rally. Topside raided the place. Took everyone.
You know what? Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Stop calling me. She's my sister. No more interruptions.
Whew. That gave me anxiety just watching that.
Chin up, little one. I'll tell you a secret. We won't be staying long.
Ooh, fancy magic art. Oh my god, the animation choice.
I know,
So
it's insane. I'm a little sweaty from this. Like
So much effort went into, sort of designing this cable car system, which is a new thing for season 2 to get to the Stillwater. Because you remember Caitlin went there in a boat on season 1.
Yep.
So sort of it's kind of seeing how everything gets a redesign, a relook for, what's important now in season 2.
Yeah, you guys bring it all back, tie it all together. It's really cool. This shit is hilarious.
It's me, your vile villainess, the author of your nightmares. Bread of brew. Jinx? Yeah. Not gonna haul me in. Claim the prize? Be the big hero?
You expect me to believe Jinx, the master criminal, wears pants like that?
Pants!
You look like a half-eaten circus tent.
No.
Damn, Jinx!
Why'd you think it's so personal, man? This is water for anybody wondering in the chat.
The opportunities to be silly in the show are so like few and far between. Just dive into them when we get them.
We're good. That's just great.
Big Mama, how'd you take her in?
I gave her a choice between this and a swim in the harbor.
Not alive.
Cell block C. Carry on, officer.
Yes, sir. Move it.
Yeah, I thought you guys had me. I was like, oh shit, and then she just kept going. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, because she doesn't know actually. She's seen the pictures and drawings of Jinx, but nobody knows what she really looks like.
It was good. There was tension, man. I was like, ooh.
Mm.
Here I am, your big fat hero.
Performance here is so good, you guys. These
Oh.
animators.
It's a great shot too. The overshot that's coming. Oh, that was so cool.
And the music coming back.
Yeah. It's just like sad, like the way she flinches away at the gentle touch stuff. She hasn't had it in so long. I'm like, wow. Hurts. Oh, and then this music starts. Dear God. That. This is so scary.
So yeah, getting the intercut right in this sequence was just so important to make the tension always present and the anticipation of what's coming. You know, I think this is something like the whole team just agonized over trying to get this right.
Oh yeah. It was good. It gave me chills and stuff. I was like, I got so anxious just waiting for what you knew was coming.
It's masterful.
That's so good. And then I thought the episode actually ended there, where it just went to black. I was like, no way! And then it kept going. I was like, oh, okay. I was so scared. Singe, we need to get you a new hobby, man. Let's do puzzles or something. Oh. And the immediate like heavy metal. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that everybody knew was coming since season 1. And so like building up to that, the moment that this finally happens, you know, making it pay off in a satisfying way was really important to everyone on the team.
He's just massive, man. Like it is such a huge threat, literally.
Mm.
Oh,
You really are.
Big fat hero.
yeah, and he heals. It's fine. Oh, what a shot! Woo! Oh. Oh my god.
You got me, Hairball. But just remember, you're no stink ball. Just smile.
The music. Bro, just like
I think we always knew that last line would slay, but it was just
dude.
so well done.
Oh my god, do you just aim to hit our heartstrings every time?
Actually, yes, we do.
Man, you freaking do it well.
Amanda, what have you done?
Yeah. Wow. Well, how are we feeling, chat? And how are you feeling, Katie? That was your first time.
That was intense. My main emotion is just overflowing with pride for Amanda, having known you so long now, and thinking back to what we were talking about earlier, reading your kind of first screenplay and now watching this. I mean, it's just what you've achieved and what you've given us with this show is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Wow. I'm literally I'm clammy and sweating, and like my hairs are all on end.
I think that it was just such a real opportunity to find myself on this team. I got the job because I interviewed for it, 6 years ago. The team read one of my scripts and liked it, and I came in and interviewed. They let me watch the pilot, which was a little bit different back then. They had done like a whole version of the pilot. But when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is something special. This is, I think what I had, expected is that when you do a show like this, you start with, for an adult animated show, you start with adults, and if you're going to tell any of their backstory, you do flashbacks back to the past, and they're like, no, we're going to tell the kid's story first in 3 complete, like the whole pilot was like, watching that, I was like, oh, nobody does that. Nobody lets you get to know these heroes as children in an adult show. And I was just like, this is so bold. Like, I am fucking in. I am excited.
Yeah.
So, when I got the job, I was like, yeah, let's do this. And it was just really special to get to bring, I had been working in TV rooms for a really long time, kind of worked my way up the ladder as an assistant, and then, getting staffed on some shows, and getting, these guys had come from the video game world, and, it was kind of like this balance of, we all loved and were passionate about the same things. I had a lot of TV structure experience to bring to the table. And they had a lot of like League fan lore. Alex actually wrote a lot of the characters or created a lot of the early characters in League. Christian is a musician, a former boy band guy who did a lot of like the early music videos and stuff for them and all of their music. And it was just kind of, we all had this like balance of experience to bring to the table. And that just kind of all really worked out and allowed us to, find our place on the team. That where we all were adding something different and a different skill set.
Nice.
What you were saying, Amanda, about the laying the groundwork in childhood and those relationships, particularly the relationship between Vi and Powder, those early moments were just so beautifully constructed, and I think that could have made or broken the show, right? Like that groundwork, and it was just because of the brilliance and genius of that, the entire show was able to flourish the way that it had. It's really astonishing what you've created.
Yeah, and that that whole first three episodes, they had sort of planned that already, and I kind of came in and was helping them structure it for television in a sense. I think when my first week on the job, they pitched me the whole arc that they had for the season and kind of the ideas they had, and I was like, oh, if that's your story, then you need to change the pilot. Because the pilot was much more like the first scene in their pilot was that wonderful, beautiful drowning moment of Silco that is now in episode 3. And I thought that was wonderfully written and so well done. And I was like, that can't be the first thing we see if this isn't Silco's story. If this is a story about 2 sisters, then that's where we need to start the series. So one of that was. It's really hard to be like your first week on a new job and be like, I love everything you've done, but change it.
Yeah. Hey, good call though.
But they really, again, they respected and trusted me, and I respected and trusted them. And I think that everything about writing television is about, being able to find common ground in your differences, because what you strive for is you have a writer's room of very different people, you have a creative team of very different people and opinions and ideas, and what you want to do is kind of find a way to bridge all those differences in a way that makes sense for, and I think when you do that successfully, then you get something that speaks to a wider audience, that speaks to a lot of people. So I'm like, what I love in a writer's room is people who don't agree with me, because it's like, then you're going to start figuring out, but if you approach that with like, if you respect and appreciate everyone's opinion that's different than you, then you can start figuring out a way to make something that speaks to both of you or speaks to people through those differences.
No, for sure. That's really cool. I mean, you guys all came together and you can tell it's like, you can tell there's diversity, like even behind the scenes as there is in the show, and it's like, it's really neat to see that, because I think too many times there are plenty of shows where they write about diversity, but that might not be the case behind the scenes, and it kind of, you can tell, you know, they're not fully understanding certain characters or points of views. And you know, I think it works well that you guys have these different POVs and experiences, because it just works, you know. And like you said, it's everybody can get a little bit of something out of it, you know, or relate to someone or some character, you know. It's cool. That's really neat. Okay, well, it looks like, yeah, don't worry, guys, we're getting to the Q&A soon. Well, before we did that, I wanted to ask, was there anything specifically, I know there were some moments you wanted to discuss a little further in the episode. Did you want to go back to any scene, or
do you want to re-traumatize us, Amanda?
At the beginning of the episode.
Exactly.
Also, I don't know if you wanted to, you know, elaborate on a particular scene in the last episode as well, episode 3. I will leave it to you if there's anything you guys want to talk about. Yeah.
What scene are you talking about?
I don't know. Can you guess?
I'm catching up on all the comments because it was really hard for me to take in so many things at once. And I just got to the part where everything is blue hearts, and it's so exciting for me, guys, how much people dig this. So I'm going to have to leave it to Elijah and our wonderful moderators to kind of sift through these comments and ask questions or whatever. But you know, I think some of the things, you know, for this episode, and you know, we can you know, I'm happy to talk about anything you want. You know, this whole storylines are very near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
But in this episode in particular, I think the structure, finding that right structure of how, like, we tried so many different things in terms of how to intercut the stories, how to make sure that tension was there, and how to make sure this sort of like confluence of events of everything happening at Stillwater in the climax felt like it was adding to that tension and not stepping on the tension. You know, finding the right balance of humor with like all the sort of serious things that are happening, you know, and especially with, you know, Caitlin's character, who takes sort of center stage, and her decisions, you know, kind of affect everything this episode. You know, how do we make sure that we're really understanding where her head's at? Because, you know, I think if you just looked at the actions that she's done in this episode and, you know, in Zon, it's pretty unforgivable. But when you hear her reasons for that, you know, a lot of what she says, I think you can relate to, and a lot of her struggle and how she's, you know, seems like she's doing the right things, you know, for all the wrong reasons. Or I always tell people, like, characters need to be doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, or the wrong thing for the right reasons. And she is definitely fallen into the wrong things for all the right reasons, she thinks, in this episode. So we really wanted to like get into that. And I think that's where the Maddie character was very helpful. Again, you know, you get to have that angel on your shoulder and the devil on your shoulder. And, you know, she gets to talk to both of them, and we get to feel how she really feels in a way that we couldn't get to if it was just her talking to Ambessa, because she's always, as you can see, she's always guarded and distrusting around her. So and, you know, I think that another thing that was sort of big for us this season with Caitlin is, you know, in the absence of her mother, you know, she now has to take on the head of the Kierman household. And, you know, what does that mean for her? You know, now she's in a position of leadership. She's leading the entire city. She's leading the head of the Kierman household. She's trying to live up to the expectations and standards of this ghost. And I think that's incredibly difficult for her. And we wanted to sort of interrogate that on not just like the professional and the you know, head of the household, but also like personally, like, what if I dated someone that my mom would approve of? You know, and I think that it just helped us look at everything on so many different sort of layers in this episode for her character.
Okay.
You know, so that's why I was really excited about the Maddie character in this episode and having Katy here with us.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. It looks like it looks like the chat is so ready for questions. So maybe we'll just dive into the questions, and then, you know, if a question kind of branches off to maybe an example or something, we can kind of maybe do that, you know. So I'll let you guys start filling. We have a couple of them already selected, but I'll let people know that this is officially time. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and type it in now. I will go ahead and start with just like, I have like maybe 3 that I have just made ahead of time to give these guys some time. The first one is, which I've seen actually show up a little bit, was how long is that time jump between episode 3 and 4?
I think this is something that we tried to leave, it's not clear. And what we had always talked about was it was like 3 to 6 months later. It's not been years, but it's enough times for things to feel, like they've gone on too long. Like this isn't what I signed up for. So that, I think that's kind of like what people can take away from the episode. And, but what we talked about originally was, something like that.
Okay. Good. Cool. That question actually came from my girlfriend, Moscow. We lost reaction. She's currently here.
Is Moscow your girlfriend's name?
Yeah.
How does she pronounce your name? Being
Elijah.
Scottish? Oh, she hasn't got Elijah. She hasn't got Elijah.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of an accent. It's funny though. I don't hear her saying my name often now because we just use a bunch of pet names.
Of course.
We're just sapphic.
Yeah.
So the only time she'll say my name is if I'm in trouble.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a minute since I've heard it, but but she's in the chat. So hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
Hopefully, if we do this again, we'll get her in the next one.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is a question. This is my own personal question, but I think I saw somebody else bring it up. Why Cupcake as the nickname? Where did that come from? If you could elaborate on the very famous "You're Hot" Cupcake line.
Enlighten us, Amanda.
Yeah, why Cupcake?
It came from the game. So
okay.
Kate had already had that pet name for Vi in the game a little bit, and she also has a cupcake trap or weapon. All the lore people and all the League people who are very well versed in this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Cupcake is from the game. Okay. And we sort of, we took it as our own and made it our own.
That's so cute. It's such a good line, I swear. Okay, and then we've got a couple selected. I'll just do one more. Oh, you know what? I got a fun one for Katy. If you could hang out with Maddie, what would you guys do? What would that be like?
I think we'd go clay pigeon shooting.
Elaborate. What is that?
Do you not have that? Wait, ask Scottish girlfriend. She knows. Wait, is that just such a British Scottish thing? It's where you go, you chuck a clay thing in the air and you shoot it. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah, it's like a disc.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think we would do that, and then I think we would have go for a gin because Maddie's old enough to drink gin. If that's one of the questions that keeps coming up is how old is she?
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "How old is Maddie? How old is Maddie compared to Caitlin?"
I understand why that caused confusion. Yeah, she's in her early 20s. She's ages with the other girls.
Gotcha.
Ladies.
Everyone was suspicious. They're like, "Caitlin, you a cougar? What's going on?"
I know. There's a weird, baby face.
Okay. Anything else? Just the shooting thing? You guys?
I mean, we're very. I've poured a lot myself into this character, a lot of my own vulnerabilities, and that was kind of one of the really funny things. Amanda must have known something that I didn't know, because of that opening scene. I just kind of tried to be myself. That opening intro scene when we meet Maddie and she's interacting with Vi. I didn't know that she would come across as being so adorable. Like I actually didn't know because it's kind of my own. It was quite a surprise. And early on when I saw a kind of earlier animatic for that, and I watched it, and I thought, oh, I'm kind of like, I come across quite, it was like stepping outside my own self and looking at myself. It was a really bizarre existential moment where I was like, oh, I might be a little bit lovable. Well, that's nice. It was one of those moments. Yeah.
Very.
But yeah. We'd probably be best buds. We'd probably be best buds, and then we'd drive each other insane.
And then just wouldn't be best buds anymore.
I don't think we would date.
Who would win the clay shooting?
Oh.
Well, Maddie probably. Let's be serious. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool. I like that. Oh, that's an interesting question. Okay, so I've started a couple of them. We'll start getting through these. We've got a question for Amanda, and it's from Ava. Oh wait, I can click on it. Duh. I forgot I can do that now. What was your favorite scene to write in the series? And it could be in this episode or just nothing for the future. But yeah, do you have a favorite scene that you had written that's been shown already?
I have so many favorites, I think. I think probably the kiss scene of the scenes we've seen so far is probably one of my favorite scenes because again, like Katie mentioned, she poured so much of herself into Maddie. I poured so much of myself into that scene, and wanting, I think because we knew that we were going to have 2 seasons to tell this story from the beginning. I think we were able to sort of map out the arcs for the characters in a way that really allowed us to have that kiss get the sort of visceral reaction that people have been giving it. And that is, it's like it's not something we could have done if we only had 1 season or if we didn't know how many seasons we would have. We would have just had to kind of like put it in where we could put it in. But this way we're really able to map out that relationship over the course of these 2 seasons. And I feel like the kiss is, and people's reaction to it is because we took our time to earn it. And even so, it is like, it's still, again, as I mentioned earlier, it is a kiss that is the right thing for all the wrong reasons.
Oof. Sorry, it's just the way you said that. Like, damn, yeah.
Elijah, your reaction to the kiss was epic.
Oh my God.
When she leaned in and put her hand on her face, you were like, oh, that's sweet. Oh my God. It was like that sudden switch. And it's funny when we were at the premiere down at the Egyptian Theatre, having a whole audience of people whooping and cheering for 2 women kissing on screen was just an extraordinary moment. It was really moving and really powerful. Just the entire theater just lit up in that moment.
Well, I mean, it's like you guys are doing it well. And I remember actually last year, not to keep bringing her up, but just ironically, my girlfriend and I did a rewatch of Kate Vicine specifically on her channel. Since, fun fact, for those who don't know, Arcane is kind of the thing that brought us together. And we were discussing how, in media and in cinema, they don't always treat sapphic relationships well. You know what I mean? It's a lot of times it's written for or shot for like, the male gaze or just like sexualized or fetishized. And it's just like, you guys add this really beautiful gentleness to it. You add that element of sapphic relationship that I don't think too many. I mean, nowadays we're getting more and more that are actually doing it pretty decently and including it. But I can't imagine what that must have felt like, seeing that for the first time in the theater. But it does, it means a lot. And, having all these different badass characters that you guys have that are all female and they're strong women and they're, just all different, but strong in their own ways. It's really nice representation and it's really important. So, yeah, just wanted to just add to that the Kate Vice stuff, although there's, a little bit of angst right now. It's done really well. And I think you guys brought in that softness and genuine, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just like a different kind of intimacy to it. That queer women, we get it. We know what it is, but we don't always get to see it on screen, And
actually it can be quite hard to articulate.
Yeah. That's fair.
Because there historically there haven't really been references. So unless you're in it and you've been part of an intimacy like that, it's very hard to describe that to people. And so to see those kinds of stories starting to emerge is really something spectacular,
Just beautiful.
Yeah, and I think I was so supported and empowered by the entire team to help tell this story. I was listened to and then rallied behind, and like the whole team on Arcane wanted to see this story told in such a delicate, nuanced way, and just really rallied behind me to help get this vision across. And that is also something that was very special to me, was to feel so supported and empowered by everybody around me. One example I have from season 1 is the "You're hot cupcake" line. At one point during the sort of production process of that, Christian asked me, he's like, you know what, I think that Vi could probably say this "You're hot cup," this line in a look. And I think that's what you're always trying to do as writers, is you're trying to strip away as much as the words as possible and put that into subtext. And I was like, yes, absolutely. This look definitely says that. It tells me that. But as a queer person who's been telling and watching these stories for so long, I think same-sex attraction has always and so commonly been relegated to the subtext, that it was really important to me to make sure that it wasn't totally in the subtext. And I told him that, and he was like, cool, leaving it in. It's not, and again, it's like people make me sound like a badass fighter who, like struggled to get all this in. And it was the team, just really listening to me, and supporting me and empowering me that helped this happen. So.
That's really
But it's funny because that cupcake line could have gone a different way, right? Like, it was just so nuanced. I mean, it was just contextually everything. It was the perfect setup for it. But like under different circumstances, it could have been a bit like, I
think we definitely were reclaiming cupcake.
Yes.
And not having it be sort of like a sort of skeevy, infantilizing thing.
Totally. And it worked. It was,
that was
iconic.
great. Very iconic, for sure.
I know. And I think I also have, sort of a guiding light in my writing is you need to have some lines in your script that speak to sort of these bigger themes or put subtext into text, and I always call those like trailer lines. It's like it's because you need some things in that say things textually that would go in the trailer that would help people understand. I think a lot of what we wrote in the scene we watched today, that Ambessa Caitlin scene between those two women, like there are so many sort of like iconic lines and moments in that speak to what each of them are dealing with personally in the text. And I was like, oh yeah, some trailer lines in that scene for sure.
No, for sure, definitely. They were very standout lines. That's perfect. All right, this one comes from Lola. It's a question for each of you. Amanda, this is first. What is your favorite character arc in season 2 that you wrote, and why? And then for Katie, your question is going to be, what aspects of your character do you connect with the most? That's nice.
Katie, you want to take it away?
Well, I'm like treading on sort of eggshells here. Well, I admire Maddie's loyalty, her wide-eyed optimism and idealism. I don't think I'm quite. How would you describe me as an optimist, Amanda? No, a realist. Her loyalty and her commitment to the cause, her commitment to the team, her fearlessness. Those are things that I really admire about the character. I'm sort of looking at the comments. I'm so nervous that I've been so nervous. I need to reiterate to everyone, I literally barely slept last night before this because I was so concerned about how this would go over, because I also, there's two things going on. I'm also like a fangirl of the show, also rooting for Kate and Vi, but Maddie's like my little cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
And like my cupcake deserves a little cupcake. You know what I mean? So I'm just dealing with the duality of those two things. But there's a lot of things I admire. Her charisma, the fight in her, lots of things. Yeah.
Tiny but mighty.
Yes. Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. And then for you, Amanda, do you have a favorite character arc in season 2 that you wrote for?
I mean, I've always identified with Caitlin, sort of from the beginning. I've told people this a lot of times, but I got to give Caitlin her last name. I got to help give her parents. Those sort of those things didn't exist in the game, and that was one of the first things we did in adapting her for television, was kind of trying to fill out parts of her character. And so, and something I always identified with was just like how hard she worked for something, even though she, didn't have to. I think in Hollywood, you have to work hard to get where you're going to go. especially if you don't come from a place with connections. And so, you know, I didn't have the connections Caitlin had, but she was always working and striving to get where she wanted to go, despite that. And, you know, I think in season 2, we just really, I think we really pushed sort of the limits of her character and what grief can do to a person, and what, you know, guilt and responsibility can do to a person. And I think through the course of the whole season, we get to look at a lot of different sides of Caitlin. And so, you know, I think there's a particular line in episode 8 that I, of course, will not spoil for everyone, that I think really speaks to her struggle this season. And I think you see in every scene she's in, you see that this is not easy for her. This is a struggle, for her. And by the time you get to like sort of that line in that episode 8, you're like, oh, I get it. You know, so I'm really excited for people to kind of experience that whole arc. And then as an aside, I have been dying for people to finally see Mel's arc. And that was not something I could ever speak about for the entire, because we, you know, her arc has been just a secret. Her fate was a secret at the end of season 1. I wasn't able to say. And also, like, I can't wait for you guys to see what we're doing with Mel. It's such a big surprise. You know, it's something, I think we laid a lot of teeny tiny threads for this stuff in season 1, and so many people had thoughts about where it could go and why things could happen, which we were very excited about, because I think when you plant stuff in season 1, you want to make sure it feels like it pays off in season 2 and isn't like a complete blindsiding shock. But you know, I think so with Mel, I think we hinted at things in a way that when you see it, you'll be like, of course that pays off that way. You know, and when you know, like, why her mother has done the things she's done, like it's all kind of wrapped up in one. So again, I'm very excited for people to finally get to learn more about that character as she learns about herself. Very interesting.
Oh, okay. Super cool. Yeah, I don't have like a thing for Mel or anything, so I'm not, you know. And you mentioned episode 8. Interesting. I mean, hey, if this goes well, maybe we'll do another watch party to episode 8. Maybe. You guys, the viewers, that's something you want to see. Let us know in the comments, you know? Go follow them on their Instagrams and comment on their posts and stuff about it. All right, awesome. Okay, this one is from Black Shard Studios. Question is, the power of human touch plays a huge role in Arcane. Was that Amanda's writing, Fortiche, or a mix?
I think it's always a mix, because we do hint at it in the script, but I'm gonna say it's a very heavily Fortiche mix. Like 9 times out of 10, it is something that Fortiche and the animators and the directors have added, you know, that sort of interprets and brings out our scripts in ways, like, I'm always like, oh, thank God they added, like, oh, that's exactly what I meant, or that, you know, it's so much of, you know, the love and care. And I think, you know, Arcane is the only animated show I've ever written for. I've only written for live action apart from this. And so for me, the amount, and the reason I'm like, oh, but I can write for Arcane, even though my experience is live action, is because the amount of subtext that the animators are able to put into the performance and the expression you see on their faces is so nuanced. There is so much care and effort put into that. It's as if an actor was acting it. And so that's why, you know, I don't have to actually change the way that I write from live action to animation for Arcane.
Oh, that's neat.
Just to jump in there, because Amanda, you're so modest, but like, you know, from an actor's point of view, you know, having been doing this for a long time and read so many different scripts, like, I'm now at the point where I can differentiate. Like, Amanda sent me stuff and then it's been rewritten by someone else, and I'm like, Amanda, not Amanda. You know, I can tell the difference right away. And you are a master of nuance and vulnerability of the human condition, and within that, writing for women, and within that, writing for queer women. You know, and so it just whenever I've read something, whenever I've worked on something or read something that Amanda's written, it's fitted like a glove, because it really has, right? It just really has. And that's so, I cannot describe what a rarity that is. You know, when you talk about human touch, it's just it's just such a special thing. So so much from an actor's point of view, so much of that human touch comes from the writing alone.
Oh yeah,
it's very flattering. Thank you so much.
it's true.
You're welcome. Just hire me again.
Yeah. I was like, Amanda is very, very modest, even behind the scenes. It's just like, like so many people admire your writing style. I'm myself included, my girlfriend included, and it's like, it really, it does stand out. It really, really does. So,
and even if you know nothing about writing, you can feel it, right? You can feel good writing because it it's a sensation. It takes over every cell in the body, and you kind of merge in, you know, with what you're experiencing, and it's. So yeah, that feeling is the feeling that Amanda creates with her work.
So good.
Am I bright red yet, you guys?
Yeah, a little bit right here. Cute. All right. This comes from Lala Jones. Lala says, my grad professor at MLU, John Strauss, worked on Arcane with you. How was it like how was it like working with him as TV writing veteran? Cool.
Yeah, so John, you know, helped us out in season 2. I think we also had another mentor, Monica Maester, in season 1. These were very seasoned TV people who came in and you know, helped us, offered some of their guidance and support and their years of experience, both in season 1 and season 2. You know, and I think I have had so many wonderful mentors throughout the course of my career that I just couldn't have, you know, learned what I've learned or known what I've known without them. So, you know, again, and like this is a job where the blessing of this job is you always get to be learning something new, whether it's something personal that you want to tell a story about or, you know, structure or whatever. And I think the writing team, the creative team, we're never satisfied. So once we get something and we land it, we're like, fuck yeah, that's emotional. I love that. That works so well. We're like, well, we're not going to do that again. We're going to do something different. We're going to push different. We're going to push something different to a new place, something further, and see if that works. You know, I think so. Kind of always getting to learn something new, you know, is kind of just the guiding light of all of Arcane. And, you know, I think John, you know, came in and, you know, offered us some of his experience and support in that second season writer's room, you know, kind of helping us figure out what we could have done, you know, what we had set up in season 1, and then where we would take, we had these ideas of where we wanted to take it for season 2, and just figuring out, I think one of the first things we do at the beginning of every process is kind of, we go through and what does a character want at the beginning of the season? What does the character need in actuality, and how are those two things different? You know, and I think that's something John sort of helped us out with in that second season, is what does each character want? What do they need? Those two things are different. Oftentimes the character doesn't know what they actually need until they go through the course of the season. You know, and I think one of the things I remember the most was for Mel's character. I think we had on a card the very beginning of that whole process, you know, kind of what her wants and needs were for the season, and her sort of guiding light, and like the last line in sort of her arc that's the character utters is like, oh yes, that was on the board, that was on the card from the very beginning. So that's how important this stuff is to figure out ahead of time.
Cool.
And again, you know, I would, you know, next week maybe I'll tell you exactly what that moment is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see then, huh? I'm so excited. Like, I'm putting all my focus into behaving and just staying still and, you know, acting like a professional. But the fangirl is definitely dancing around in circles inside. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? This question's perfect to kind of follow up with that. From Clouds and Gears. What was a typical day like writing for Arcane? Does the writer's room go from 9 to 5, 5 days a week? What's that like?
So I think it's so many different experiences writing this show. We did have a writer's room. You know, we did work 10 to 6 or 5 days a week in season 1. That was much more kind of like what we did. We broke the episodes, we broke the whole season, we wrote the episodes that way, and we kind of passed them off to Fortiche, and then Christian and Alex kind of supervised the animatics and things and produced the show. And then in the second season, we also did a writer's room that started off similarly. And then, you know, COVID happened and sort of derailed all of that. And then we ended up working from home. The team kind of shrunk down to me, Alex, and Christian, and the team over in France, Fortiche. And we had a lot of Zoom calls early in the morning, which is great for me because I'm a morning person.
Nice.
But you know, and we really actually broke a lot of the story together with Fortiche in season 2, you know, kind of building on the great work that the room did with the writers, you know, and then adding to that and shaping the story with Fortiche in season 2. A lot of the writing, you know, we did a lot of writing in the storyboard process as well. So we had the scripts, we recorded the dialogue, then the directors and the storyboard artists kind of did their pass at things, and then we would kind of work together again to kind of shape the story. And I think in this episode in particular that we watched, episode 4, the structure was very important, you know, and figuring out how to keep that tension, you know, and starting off, you know, act 2 with an intimate scene between 2 women, you know, I think that was, you know, I wish I could say it was my idea, but it wasn't. But when someone pitched it to me, I was like, well, I love that. That is unexpected and surprising, and why not?
That's great. That's really nice. Yeah, I don't think we get enough scenes that start that way, huh? We need more.
We need more.
Much more. Much more.
A lot more.
All right.
Yeah, I think it really, that scene also, since it's kind of a big button issue for this episode, is that scene really starts off Caitlin, you know, in a completely different place sort of than we've seen her emotionally previously, and kind of sets the stage for like the rest of her arc for this act. And I think what you're always trying to do as a writer is take your characters, you know, from a point A to point B that are as far apart as you can make them while making that arc feel earned. And you know, I think we see her in 2 very different places at the start of the act with that scene, and then at the end of the act. You know, for those of you who have watched it, I think you know what I'm talking about in episode 6. And I won't spoil it for people who haven't watched it yet, but
no worries.
Me, I've not seen it.
Yeah. No spoilies for Katie. Are you gonna go and watch the next 2 episodes after this, Katie?
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'll have to after this. Yeah, I just although I might need a little break. That was really intense. That was intense. I'm not gonna lie. I might need to. I'm still processing. Maybe tonight.
Maybe get a stuffed animal. You know, snack.
Yes.
Maybe some tissues. And you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm,
a blanket.
Yeah, a little warm blanket. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this person had a question, but it was sent after this. So there's the name. The question is, it's for Amanda. What would you say is your most important guiding principle when it comes to sitting down to break a script when there are so many moving parts and nuanced stories?
This is the $100 question, as we've seen. Yeah, I think, you know, so in Arcane, especially in season 2, we added, you know, there are so many characters, there are so many storylines, there's so many plot lines, you know, but I think like I mentioned earlier, the place where you need to start is like the simplest place. It's like, it's the character wants. What are they trying to achieve? And, you know, I think trying to figure out what Caitlin wants in this episode, you know, she wants justice for what happened to her mother. She feels guilt. She's driven by that. But, you know, I think what she needs, and it takes, you know, the season to understand, is that she is going to need to forgive. Like Ambessa says, are you strong enough to forgive? So again, that's a line that we put in there that directly reflects a character need. You know, and is she going to do that before, you know, how long is it going to take her to get to that point? Can she get to that point? You know, a lot of times characters fail to see what they need and become tragic characters, you know, and they don't actually get to that point in the arc that you so desperately want them to get to. So, you know, I think that's kind of where you have to start, and make it as simple as possible, because, you know, it is such an intricate, complex, layered, nuanced world. But in order for us to identify with these characters, you know, kind of, again, as Katie mentioned, the human condition, it needs to feel, their motivations need to feel like things that you align with. You know, I think not a lot of people feel responsible for a parent's death, you know, some people do, but that I think the guilt that drives her, the guilt that drives Vi, that's something we can all relate to. And kind of figuring out how to boil things down to things that you can relate to in the simplest of terms. You know, that's the best place to start, before you kind of add all the other intricate, detailed layers on top of it.
Nice. Okay, cool. So strong base, and then you kind of build from there with extra little details. Solid. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. We're getting checked on. Make sure we're still feeling good. You guys feeling good?
Yeah, I'm gonna remind myself to drink water, which is my constant struggle.
You guys are reminding me to drink some water as well. Okay, so we'll keep going.
Drink coffee.
Yes.
Keep drinking.
Take your sipsies.
Okay.
This one is for both of you guys. It's from Courtney. What does the backlighting represent to you when Maddie meets Vi? Katie first.
Katie first.
Yeah.
They're trying to like catch us out on something. Yeah, I
maybe.
Well, you know, I think it's you know, it's obviously an emblem of her wide-eyed optimism. For sure. There's a tonal shift. I mean, it's kind of, I was speaking to one of the composers about that, and he actually sent me the piece of music that they shift from when we see sort of Vi in her sort of drunken, vulnerable state, and then there's a sort of there's a shift of, you know, a creative shift with lighting, composition, music, and then Maddie comes at, you know, where and so he sent me that piece of music, and so I think it represents a sort of, it's sort of a halo in a way, you know, and an emblem of her optimism and idealism. I mean, but yeah, it's definitely
on the shoulder. I meant like her, you know.
Yes, it definitely, from my perspective, I don't know because I'm not on that creative team, but that's what I got from it, you know. And yes,
solid.
Amanda.
Yeah. What do you think? It's
Again, I think those are the kind of touches that are added after the storyboard phase, after, you know, those are the kind of things that surprise and delight me when I get to watch an episode for the first time. Those lighting decisions. But, you know, like I said, so every single thing you see on screen, you know, I always tell people, it's like, I can pause the frame and we can just dissect 20 things about that mean something. But you know, that sort of like bright halo light is kind of like, it's a wake up call to Vi. You know, that whole scene is kind of a wake up call for her to see something from someone else's perspective beyond her own reality. Like, kind of forces her to empathize in a way, and that, you know, I think the lighting reflected that.
Nice. All right, cool. Okay, this one's an interesting one. I think only. I mean, of course, only Amanda could answer this, but comes from Veronica. How long/much can Jinx use shimmer in fights? Does it have any side effects? She uses it pretty inconsistently. Interesting.
Again, yeah. So this is the kind of thing that I think to us, every sort of power or strength that you have has to also have a cost or a toll. Like, those two things need to balance each other out. So like, she can't, if she were able to use that indiscriminately all the time without cost, then, you know, that wouldn't feel like something that a character could identify with. And I think every sort of thing has it has a balance like that. You know, the exact mechanics of that are, you know, have been left to the artists to solve a lot of the time. So, you know, they're the ones who actually track the frame by frame amount of time that Jinx can use that power before it evaporates. You know, and again, it's something that comes from the game, so that has limitations as well because it's a game mechanic. So, you know, I think we're always trying to make those game mechanics have like a cost in the show, or we're not just like, hey, let's throw the game thing in. It's like, no, it has to have a dramatic narrative stake to it. And so, you know, I think you know, that's kind of something that you'll see evolve or over the course of the season, you know, as her story unfolds.
Okay, nice. This one's a really cool question. Comes from Cannon Fodder. I love how Mbessa has been depicted as both powerful, smart, yet desperate. Even seems jealous of Caitlyn for her strength to trust and forgive. What advice can you give for writing great antagonists?
I think a great antagonist, one thing that I always remember is like the antagonist is the hero of their own story. You know, and they, you know, Mbessa is, again, believes that everything she is doing is for the right reason. So no matter how wrong it seems to us, it is for her family, it is for her legacy, it is for everything she sacrificed. You know, for those of you who saw the like fantastic Blood, Sweat, and Tears music video of hers, and kind of see the things that this woman has had to endure. You know, she believes that she's gone through all of that for her family, for the Medardas. And so when she believes she's, you know, lost her daughter or made mistakes, you know, that kind of thing is like, oh, I understand someone who loves their kid so much and is willing to do anything for their child. I understand that kind of passion and that love. You know, I don't agree with anything she's doing, but I also don't know exactly who she's fighting against. If they seem pretty fucking scary, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe they are pretty villainous and terrible. Not that they would justify the lengths she's gone to in Piltover.
Right.
To protect her family, but you know, she has the benefit of that knowledge, and she thinks she's making a decision for the greater good in that moment. And you know, when she's lost Mel, her last remaining child, I think that she, you know, goes off the rails a little bit.
Just a little triggered, and just
yeah.
Fine.
And I think that allowed, you know, a mother without a daughter and a daughter without a mother allowed us to build a relationship between those two women that, you know, you could understand why they did that, even if you don't agree with what they were doing.
Cool. Okay. Nice. Let's see. Okay, this one's kind of fun. Katie, we can get your input on this one too. It's Simran. If the characters were in a normal world, what careers do you see them being in?
Oh, interesting.
That's fun.
Would Maddie actually be a cop?
You know, I think she would.
Yeah?
Actually.
What if she wasn't a cop? What else do you think she'd be into?
I think she would be a clay pigeon shooting instructor.
Bringing it back full circle.
Yeah. Bringing it back full circle. I'll need to think on that, actually.
Okay. I think Vi would be a chef in like a Michelin star kitchen or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, you people, fan artists that are watching this, draw it. Make it happen.
Maddie might be like a professional jockey or a Formula One race car driver.
Totally see that. Can totally see that.
Okay, what about Caitlyn? What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, she would definitely be a cop. It is like all she ever wanted to be.
Solid detective.
A detective, actually, because the way her brain, you know, I think you see that even more in episode 5. I'm going to say something about episode 5 now, so you just mute me if you don't want to hear this right now.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning. But I think what we're about to see Caitlyn do is, you know, reconnect a little bit with those investigative roots in episode 5. And as she does that, that becomes a very important, you know, thing for her to experience in her arc this season. It's a reminder for her. of where she comes from.
Okay. What about? I'm just curious now. What about for Jinx? You'd be like, I could see her being like a middle school like guidance counselor.
What
That
about
would
like
be
what
real
about like a
sad for the middle
sliding?
school.
What about like a sliding doors for Jinx? Like, what about like if there was 2 alternate realities for Jinx? Like, where would she end up?
Ooh.
You know, if she'd continued the way that she maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good one. What do you think?
Let's see. I think let's see, what would Jinx she would have to do one of like the really like crazy professions that exist, like deadliest catch or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, where
that's
would she find enjoyment?
That's amazing. All right. So, oh wait. I have to know just one more. Savika. What is she working in?
Why don't we put her like as vice sous chef in the restaurant?
Oh, that would be great. Oh, I'm just asking more and more because like now I'm just really intrigued for the artists that are watching this that will totally be drawing them in these jobs now. I was like, let's get a couple more. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. I'm pretty sure we know the answer to this, but just in case there was anything changed or added, Eva asks for Katy, how did you craft Maddie's accent? Is it just yours, or did you do anything different to it? Yeah.
It is my accent. I did pitch her a little higher. I did. I knew she was young. When I first started recording for Maddie, I didn't know how she would look. So like Amanda said before, I think they based, they captured video, and I think they used pictures of mine as inspiration. So I didn't know. It was such a surprise to see that she was so cutesy. I don't know what I thought she was going to look like. I think I might have seen an earlier draft of the character Amanda where she was a little different.
Oh.
She was do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think she was always sort of in that vibe.
She was, but I think she got younger and cutesier. I think when the animatics started to come together. But yeah, I did sort of picture a little brighter, a little, especially at the beginning, and sort of like to capture that kind of wide-eyed naivety and youth and all that stuff and optimism. So a little bit of that.
Cool. Oh, very nice. I have to put this one up because I myself am curious if it was you, Amanda. Skylar asks, did you add the I hope you had time to, line? Was that you?
That was Alex, because Alex loves me so much that he always enables me.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I gotta admit, that was also like my favorite Jinx line of all time.
Oh, I laughed when I read it in the script. I was like, dude, you really gonna put this in for me? And he's just like, it's for you, Amanda.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, okay. Well, hearts in the chat for Alex. So in the live chat, put some nice hearts for Alex. That's awesome. He gave us that line. Okay, let me see. I got a couple. Man, there's so many like pretty decent questions going on. Okay, let's do this one. Segundo. How did you guys manage to make a tragedy beautiful while simultaneously respecting the complexities of each character's lives and circumstances? Pretty deep.
A lot of discussion.
Yeah.
Again, I think this kind of goes back to what I was talking about before about everybody on the creative team being different and having different perspectives, but respecting the differences between us and really working to find kind of those layers, bridging those differences together on the team. And I think it might be best if I give maybe an example for this. But in season 1, in episode 3, when Vi hits Powder, when I first read that in the script, I had really strong reaction to it in the sense that I was like, ooh, this is like too far. This is the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. This is like, this isn't going to feel right. And Christian, felt really, really strongly that moment would work. And we really talked about it together a lot, him and the room and everybody on the the directors, the performers, everybody really came together on that moment. And to me, I really want to, it was important to me how Vi reacted to what happened to her. I think that kind of removing herself from when she realizes what she's done, I think everybody kind of has the capacity to make mistakes and to go too far and let their emotions, carry them. And how she reacted to that, became really important to me. She removed herself from the situation, so that she wouldn't make any further mistakes. And then, you see her desperately trying to get back to Powder, desperately trying to make amends. And I think that moment is such a core moment for her character and for the series that I actually cannot imagine the series existing without it now. So much of that slap has carried through everything we've written moving forward, has carried through, it is the fabric of the show now and became the fabric of the show. And that came out of something that I originally disagreed with, showing. And I think, again, that's what's so important about having these disagreements, talking through things with the team and coming up with something that, now I think is so integral to the series and the story and the characters. And I don't think it would be the same without it. And that, again, is why it's so helpful to have a team with differences that respect each other, that can talk about how to make that moment work for everybody.
Wow. It's really interesting. It was definitely, that was one of those moments that you talked about where like collectively there's a gasp. That was one of the most moments. It's just like, and it was so intense too. So yeah, I have to agree. It definitely like does have that a good place in it for what ends up happening, but it's just so painful to watch every time.
Yeah, I think without the care and love that was put into that moment by everybody on the team and the discussion around it and everything, and sort of Christian's vision for that moment, it could have been, as I read it on the page the first time, it could have been something that you're just like, you can never recover from. But, again, everybody added to that moment to make it something that, the series couldn't exist without it.
Wow. Pretty awesome. I mean, sorry for Powder, but like for the viewers. Okay, so the second part of this question, I'm hoping there's no spoilers. If there's anything that would lead to a spoiler, feel free to just not even acknowledge it. But this one comes from Kumiko. Is Isha nonverbal or neurodivergent? Will we get to see more about her and her past at all?
Isha is nonverbal, and sort of the reasons, I think, again, this is another, we're trying to show a range and complexity of humans and, how they behave and stuff. And I think we want, it was like something we hadn't seen before on screen. And a lot of people, again, talked about how to do that in a respectful way, in a way that felt, authentic and, to that kind of person. And, I think what we learn about Isha through the course of this series is through her relationship with Jinx and how she relates to Jinx, what she's willing to do for Jinx. And I think sort of that whole scope of her, I think you can infer a lot about her backstory based on her relationship with Jinx. And so that, is what we're hoping people, can really relate to that character is through that relationship.
Oh, it's so cute. And the second she started signing, I was like, because it's just like a personal, like, soft spot in my heart. So it was really cool to see that. All right, nice. This one comes from Isa Moon. Did you visit certain countries or places to take inspiration for writing the story?
I think traveling and experiencing different things is essential to becoming, a good writer. Is you need to have a breadth of experience and you need to experience other things out there in the world beyond like just your own experience. So I'm always trying to travel as much as I can. For Arcane specifically, other than, traveling to Paris to meet with the team over there, let's see. I didn't do that. I didn't do traveling in that regard, but I will tell you a story that I one of the writers from season 1 has a lot of guns, and was a gun enthusiast, and had offered to teach me to shoot. And I grew up in Colorado, and I have an uncle who had taught me to shoot in the past, but I was like very young at the time, and I was like, oh, that actually might, because shooting is so important to Caitlin and her character. Yeah, of course I'll have that experience. Of course I'd like someone to teach me what that's like, and I think just he was so, respectful and reverent of, something I didn't have much experience about, which is, which is shooting guns. That I think it was, I took that opportunity to really kind of help myself connect with a character and something that I didn't, understand or know much about. And so, I was really grateful to him, and a bunch of the team went out there to the shooting range. I got to shoot a sniper rifle and kind of, get guidance on how to do that. So I think that, trying to understand how, Caitlin, that became such an important part of her character. That was something that I tried to understand and connect with in order to make that feel authentic.
Was it cathartic?
I think there's something very meticulous about it that speaks to my personality. I very much love rules. I very much love precision. And so that those two things are very important when you're shooting a gun. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, we're just getting to the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to ask one more fan question, and then we can leave it to any like last minute things you guys want to, say, just so I don't keep you on here forever. So this one could be for all of us, really. It's from Kudo. What is your guys' favorite song from the soundtrack?
Oh.
Ooh.
Mine is yet to be released.
Oh, interesting. Is it from episode
But I think
8?
everybody knows that King Princess has contributed a song to the show. And I think it's how it's used and what it is just so good. So, again, I can't wait for people to finally hear that song and, see that scene in the show.
Sus. Blink once if it's in episode 8.
I can't reveal anything.
What about you, Katie? You got a favorite?
I mean, I think my favorite's still to be released too, but like the Paint the Town Blue song is just such an anthem. Like I just, in my mind, I'm like moshing with a bunch of like blue-haired women in my head every time. It's just such a power anthem. And then, some of the classical pieces and things that are part of the score and stuff as well. But yeah, I think mine's still to be released, so I'll post it.
Oh, okay.
I've worked on a lot of TV shows at this point, you guys, and I have never in my entire career seen more love and care and attention and time go into the music of a show ever than this show. The Alexes, there's 2 of them that kind of do the music on this, are so talented. They're just so damn talented, and they work so hard, and they've spent years on this music. Most television shows where you're lucky if you get to spend months on the music of the show, and it's just every single moment has been painstakingly crafted with the utmost care, and it's heart-wrenching. All of the music is, I think that's what you always want as a writer, is like everything that the team adds to just make your writing better, to make those emotions more deep and meaningful. And the music team just knocks it out of the park
every time.
The whole sound department, actually, everyone involved in sort of like dialogue, Foley,
sound effects.
Yeah, they had a little screening.
You ever watch those videos of Foley artists doing their thing? Is this
they're like snapping a celery or something when someone gets their neck broke. I mean, it's just astonishing. But the guys, everyone in the sound department is so. I mean, everyone in the whole project's amazing. But they did a little finale screening that I went to a while ago, and it was just like there's such a tight knit family there, and what they've created what they've woven together with regards to sound design combined with the music combined. I mean, it's just, it's astonishing. It's astonishing.
Well, and just think about it, like Brad and his team over there, like they have nothing to work with, nothing. When we do live action, you get at least like you record the ambient sound, you have like all of like you have the dialogue and you have the footsteps and you have the ambient noise. They literally create everything for this show, everything. Like every single thing you hear. It's to me, it's just like it's such a job. It's such an
magic.
effort.
It is. Yeah,
it is. It really is.
I think for me, if I were to pick like favorite songs, it's kind of hard because they're so good and they work so well with the scenes. I think for season 1, it's probably a tie between Goodbye and Monster You Created.
Such a good one.
They're both just like, and then I can't hear them without seeing the visuals with it. Just so good. And then I think for this new season, because I have not seen all of it, I don't have this special King Princess one yet in mind. Honestly, the one during the first episode during the funeral for Kate's mom, that song just tore me apart, man. Oof. It was good though. It was really good.
Yeah. I think Enemy also has a really special place in my heart because Christian let us listen to that before we even started writing. Like he knew the Imagine Dragons guys before the show, and they wrote that song for Vi even before we had written any of the show. So we got to hear that, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write this into my episode. And I did. I literally wrote it into my episode, and guess what? They put it in my episode. And I was like, oh, amazing. Ask and you shall receive. And they even put the characters into my episode.
That was wild.
Even beyond that. Again, I was just like, wow.
It was so cool.
Because they animated Ray Chen as well, didn't they?
Oh, Ray Chen as well. Yeah, he actually came to our writers' room and performed on his Stradivarius. His very expensive violin for us.
You got private. I remember you got like a private concert early on. That was insane.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, Christian really knows his music and his musicians, and like it's just kudos to him that it's all so good.
Nice. Okay, well. I will leave this last bit to you guys. We can do like just regular outros. You can let the people know what you're currently working on, where they can find you. And then if there was just like any other last minute things you wanted to discuss for this watch party event, because who knows, guys, you leave enough comments or something, we might do this again for no specific coming up episode in particular. So any last minute words before I can let you guys be free from from this?
We're just grateful because we joked about this, but being deadly serious, if it wasn't for you, Elijah, it would have been Amanda and I in like a box of crackers and one of our iPhones with like 7 people watching.
Still sounds fun.
It would have been so fun, but you've really made this into the celebration that it deserves to be, and you're just so great at your job, and you're just so charismatic and magnetic, and your audience are so loyal and passionate and love you so much, and we're just so grateful to meet you and to that you've invited us onto your channel. Like this, it means so much to us.
Oh my God, thank you. Like what?
Yeah, I definitely remember watching Elijah's reaction video to my episode 5 that I wrote in season 1. And it's something you can't not watch all the way through, even when you've written the episode, because you're like, oh, she just, her reactions are so authentic and charismatic and joyful that, you just hope that everyone has, that kind of passion and spirit when they watch something that you work on.
Wow, that honestly means so much coming from you guys. Like seriously, like this was an honor for me. I will happily do as many of these as you guys would like anytime. You're both super lovely. It's been wonderful chatting with you behind the scenes. So yeah, if you guys want to do this again, like let's do it. It looks like the chat is definitely down.
The chat seems down. Yeah.
But
I also like really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to talk to fans and stuff, because again, like I want to thank everybody so much for all love and support and the messages. I've received so many just lovely messages about how people have connected with Arcane and what it means to them. So, and I just haven't been able to respond to all of them. So, being able to have this platform to speak to you and let you guys know how much that means to me. I've probably, if you sent me something, I've probably read it. I try really hard to read the stuff that people send to me, even if I can't actually respond to it. And so, and if we didn't get to your questions today, really sorry. We're gonna continue to do more AMAs. I think over on my Instagram page, if you guys, start following me there, I'm gonna try and put some, AMAs happening on there, so that I can, respond to some of these questions that you guys so desperately want answers to that we didn't get to have time to get to today. So
yeah, so like I said, guys, those links are in the description. They are planning on doing more stuff on Instagram, so please go check them out. Check out those links. You won't regret it. Hey, like Amanda said, she's gonna be doing more question stuff. You might get your question answered, just like firsthand from her. So definitely check that out. Also, you guys are good. When we finish this stream, you could just hang tight. You don't have to like press anything and stuff. We will be put in a little.
Cool.
Just I always say that because every time we do these Q&As, everyone just like, oh,
panics.
just dips and stuff. I'm like, you're good. But thank you, baby. So my girlfriend Moscow is actually sharing your Instagram links right now in the chat. So
we'd love a cheeky follow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll even get her into this next watch party we do.
We'd love it.
Yeah,
Scots,
but again, guys,
Scots unite.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's
freedom.
So hard to when I watched the episode 4 reaction, I was like, damn it, this just reminds me of my girlfriend. I have a thing now for the Scottish accent. This isn't fair. It was just...
It's actually uncanny how much your girlfriend looks like Maddie, though. It's quite astonishing.
It's not fair, man. I'm conflicted. I'm so conflicted. She even has freckles too. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. But yeah, so just thank you guys again so much. Is there anything recent you want to advertise real quick or share that they can see you on or you got coming up? Feel free to say that too before we hop off.
Anything we can talk about? Probably not.
Yeah, anything you can talk about. Clarification, yeah.
Arcane. Check out Arcane on Netflix.
Boom.
It's great.
All right, well, there you have it for here for.
I am working on this right here, which has been announced. This little Penelope of Sparta. It's a upcoming feature film with Fortiche, so we partnered to do something else, which we announced this summer. And I just subtly put this in the background as I quickly art directed my background this morning.
That's great. Shameless plug. Just put it up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I love that, you guys. Well, thank you to the audience as well for joining us. There were so many of you on here. Apologies if we didn't get to your question. But again, you can definitely check them out on Instagram. Give them a follow, and maybe they'll answer your questions on there. And stay tuned. Put your notifications on for the channel. We might just do this again. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Andrew, in the background. He's been our tech guy.
Andrew.
Hiding in the background.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much for keeping it running. And yeah, until next time, bye.